Record. Well, happy terrific Tuesday. I'm so glad all of y'all are here. This is our training call, our Fancy Pants training call every Tuesday, 10 a.m. And you're going to hear from different leaders, coaches, trainers, and even some new girls that are just up and coming. And we can always learn from each other. It's really good for us just to reach out and learn from each other. And so, today, we are going to hear from Tatiana Hill, who's one of my first girls, one of my very best friends, and a coach who is a rock star. If you don't know her, follow her on Instagram and Facebook because her fashion sense is amazing. Kristen, what did you just say to me?
I just said if I had an ounce of Tatiana's fashion sense, I would be doing it better.
Thank you. Awesome. And this is Kristen, y'all, one of my directs. We just had coffee and just were chatting about the business. And so she's joining us here to watch this Zoom meeting. So Tatiana, I'd love for you to share your takeaways from leadership. 35 girls or so just came back. 35 girls from our team just came back from leadership in California. And I've gotten so many messages and, you know, a lot of the takeaways from teams and what they're planning on doing with their teams is just so great. It just warms my heart that everyone had such an amazing time and, you know, are going to better themselves and better their team and better their business. And so I've asked Tatiana to talk to us today about her takeaways from leadership, a little bit about leadership and what she's going to do moving forward. So take notes, and hopefully it's things that you can, which I know it will be, things that you can put in place for your business and for your team. So Tatiana, go ahead.
So how long do I have, first of all?
Typically we do like 30 minutes, and you can do Q&A or whatever. So just whatever you want.
Okay. All right. I only say that because this was probably, I was just trying to think, I think this is like the 8th event if you include Inspire trainings and leaderships and conventions and stuff that I've been to. And content-wise, this was by far the best event that I've been to. And I literally, like, they probably thought I was texting the whole time, but I was literally just like typing everything that they were saying. So I have a ton of notes, and I'm just going to kind of go through some of, it's so hard to pick, but some of my favorite things that we talked about. I am a coach, so I was able to go early. We had a Thursday registration, and Thursday night they did a party for us, and Thursday we did some breakout sessions and stuff. And then Wednesday, sorry. And then Thursday when all the trainers were registering, we coaches and mentors had a long day of training, and it was really awesome. Everybody at home office spoke. They had everybody got up and talked about attitude and stuff. And so I'm just going to kind of go through some of these notes, some of my favorite takeaways. So if you have a pen and paper, write these down because they're awesome. Prerequisites for success. The 2 prerequisites for success: unflinching will and hard work. Brain power. You have the ability to respond and act, and how you respond and act shows your personal maturity. The 3 most important phases in life: where I have been is my was, where I am now is my is, where am I going is my will. And so ask yourself, who are you going to be as a person? Negative thinking causes stress. It blocks your creative limits, human facilities breakdown, immune system, creates conflict. So we started talking about all the negative thinking, all the stress that as you as consultants can feel. What causes stress? A lot of people said work and money. But the reality is it's not the work, it's not the money, it's not the problems that cause your stress. It's our response to these issues that causes the stress. I thought it was interesting, a little statistic. We're told no 148,000 times in the first 18 years of our life. So we're kind of like pre-wired to think no and negative. And that's 77% like negative, if you think about that. So it takes 10 to 12 positive affirmations to overcome 1 negative experience or comment. So I thought that was really powerful too. Just kind of thinking about how your being positive or negative can affect you personally and in your business, how negative can really take over. So everything, this is a cool quote, everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. And that was from Viktor Frankl. Our past and present circumstances have absolutely no power other than what we choose to give them. So we talked a little bit, so they talked a lot about positive and negative, and trying to be the positive, teach people how to think, how to overcome. There's always a better way. Find it. Have faith. Faith plus knowledge plus action equals anything is possible. So then they broke out into, Jordan spoke first, and they talked about being a leader. And Jordan talked about enthusiasm and perspective, to always be the silver lining in any situation. The storm doesn't last forever. Your downlines are going to be afraid. And fear causes us to forget our enthusiasm and want to run. And but he said, you can't run. Everything is going to be all right. And so it's your job as a leader to be the silver lining. And I think that is really important. It doesn't necessarily mean if you're a trainer or if you're a coach. It's all of us as signing up as independent fashion consultants. We're all signing on to be leaders to one another. And so always try to be that silver lining. If you can change the way you look at things, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And that was a really powerful quote. Even in the darkest, hardest times, there's always something to be positive about. And if you can't get over it yourself, go serve someone else. And one of the biggest themes of leadership and one of the biggest themes in LuLaRoe is to serve others. So that was kind of Jordan's little takeaway. Sam got up and spoke about worrying and why we shouldn't worry, why we shouldn't give away to anxiety. Fear and anxiety, insecurities causes stress, and sometimes we have to stop being scared and just go for it. Either it will work out or it won't. He also talked about when we are choosing to worry, we're choosing to fill our minds with doubt and worry. And so kind of focusing on self-confidence. You can't love other people, you can't believe in other people, and you can't help other people unless you love yourself, unless you believe in yourself. Unless you help yourself. And so we can't worry about what we can't control. Just be the best you that you can be. And Kenny talked about, do you know who you truly serve? How do you know? And talked about listening skills. How do you know when someone's not listening to you? You know, what's the focus? And I really love when Kenny talks about listening and getting to know people. He talks about his children and how he gets down to their level and he looks at them in their eyes. And I just love that because I think about my children and stuff too. And it's kind of, it's really powerful if you think about it that way. So he talked about letting your downlines, if you're a sponsor, if you're a trainer, if you're a coach, letting your people know that you're there for them, getting to know them, letting them know that you believe in them. You can't expect them to know these things if you don't get in touch with them, and you need to make a point to get in touch with them, to listen to them. Sorry, I have a ton of notes, so I'm just trying to skim over everything. And having a genuine interest in their why, in their goals, in their family. Lindsay Wheeler talked about that we in life have the capacity to have about 150 personal relationships, and then it's kind of maxed out at that point. And that they kind of led into why you can't sponsor 150 people, because in reality, you can't get to know them and give them the time, the attention, and the love that they need. And so they talked about, getting to know the people that you have sponsored, the people that you have on your team, and invest in them instead of just trying to be a mass recruiter, because it's not about mass recruiting. Ben talked about, I think it was Ben who got up and talked about the culture of LuLaRoe. And that's something that I feel very passionate about protecting, and I know Catherine and some of the other girls that when we all started together feel the same way. It's not about you. It's about serving others. And so they have asked us to read. They gave us all this book, The Outward Mindset. They've asked us all to read it. When we see people, as people, we see them as they are: joy, pain, fear, celebration, or we can see them as objects. And I thought that was really powerful, because I know I'm guilty of it too. Sometimes we just look at people as objects. It's a vehicle or a tool, or, we're using these people to get to where we want to go, instead of seeing them as people. And so if you can start to look at how you can help other people and not how does this help me, and not only are you going to be happier, but your business is just going to naturally flourish. So you'll hear LuLaRoe talk about the golden rule: do unto others as we want done unto us. But LuLaRoe takes it a step higher with the platinum rule, and that's do unto others as they would have done as they want undone to them. I don't know, do unto others as they would have done to them. So engage people on their terms and be somebody that makes everybody feel like somebody. Justin talked about handling mistakes and complaints and criticism. And I think this is really important for everybody, a leader, trainer, coach, mentor, sponsor, consultant. When we attempt to be right, the need to be right is being persecuted. Mistakes, we all make them, and we love to point it out in others, but hate when it's pointed out in us. Don't create drama with yourself, with others, by playing a dual role of both persecutor and victim. Remember that learning takes place on the edge. You don't have to be right. You can make mistakes, and mistakes can be a gift. Be good enough to find the silver lining. So he had 3 rules: be quick to admit our mistakes, be slow to criticize, and be constructive with our criticism. So that they talked a lot about the power of TED, which I ran up and grabbed real quick because I know there's a lot of new girls who join us. And this is definitely, I tell my girls, step 1, read this book. It talks a lot about the drama triangle, being a victim and not being a victim, a persecutor, a rescuer. It's really good. So I wanted to be able to show you guys that. Be humble enough to learn from criticism. They also talked a lot about the go-giver, so I ran up and grabbed that one too because I've read that one as well. It's just a really powerful mindset. It's also kind of about serving others and giving back, and how that can just naturally, organically bloom your business. Let's see, real quick. I think that's kind of the sum of Thursday. A lot of people had questions about, how much time should I put into my team? How much time should I put into my personal business? And they talked a lot about 40% on your personal business, on your sales. You need to lead by example. Then another 40% spent on your team. And then about 10% on administrative work. And about 10% on, your leadership skills and being a leader. So that was Thursday. Friday, we had a huge breakout session. Everybody was there. And Mark talked a little bit more about your feelings and the way you think, your emotions. When you're filled with negativity, ask yourself why. What story am I telling myself? The running theme of the whole weekend was Halloween leggings. I didn't get any Halloween leggings. Therefore, my business is over, and now I'm upset, and now I'm angry. Why are you upset and why are you angry? Because you told yourself that single event had that much power in your life. Keep it in perspective. What is the story you are telling yourself? Are you telling yourself that you are a powerful, successful person who built a business that can stand the test of time? Or are you telling yourself that every little thing, like not getting Halloween leggings, is going to knock you down? And that's so, so, so important, you guys. One little situation like that isn't going to hurt your business. And they talked a lot about how it's not in their benefit. They don't plan it that way. It's not in their benefit for you to not be able to order tall and curvy leggings right now. Their business is built off of us being able to sell. So really keep that into perspective. They want to give you everything that they can. They want you to be able to order as much of whatever you need. And sometimes it just doesn't work that way. The demand right now for our clothes is extremely high, and it's just sometimes they can't predict the numbers that they need. We did some breakout sessions. They talked a lot about time management. Time management was a huge theme in, hold on real quick, in both Thursday and Friday. So just a few little facts. I think time management is something that we could probably do separate because there's a lot of information, but just some little facts is educating your customer about your work hours, prepare for your next day, schedule your posts for social media, figure out how you should spend your work time and then work. Don't let time suckers take time away from you. But also take responsibility for your own experience in your pursuit of riches, and don't shortchange your relationships with your family, your children, your spouse. That's really, really important. Amelia stood up there and she said, if you are not getting time with your family, then you're doing it wrong. So just something to think about. I know when we're all starting, it can, it's LuLaRoe all the time. And, you sit your child in front of the TV, or they eat, takeout or whatever comes in the way. And ask yourself, am I shortchanging my personal relationships? Because if I am, then maybe I need to rethink how I operate my business. They did a mentors panel where we got to ask a bunch of questions to the mentors. And that was really neat. And the biggest theme with the mentors, again, is that it's not about you. Redirect your focus. Don't fall into the comparison trap. It's really easy to do, and the easiest way to get out of it is to go out and serve someone else. Go improve the life of someone else. So if you're kind of noticing a theme here, it's really all about serving others and being the best version of yourself. Let me go through this real quick. I forget his name from my diary, but he did speak. There's a lot of really cool stuff happening. There's all kinds of resources and machines. The machines for our leggings are only available to LuLaRoe. I thought that was really cool. So we literally have a unique product that nobody else can have. Something that you can be really proud of, you guys, 200,000 families in other countries have jobs because of LuLaRoe. I know when they took their production out of the U.S., I was really sad, but I've definitely changed my perspective on that because they are really, really changing the lives of so many families in other countries, and it's really awesome. The mentors talked a lot about going down to Guatemala because they had just come back from that trip, and how LuLaRoe and having a facility down there has really impacted their society because so many people couldn't get jobs down there. Let's see, going through real quick. So there's a lot in production. Let's see. Oh, another little note here is Mark said, if I were a fly on the wall, observing your behavior, would I be able to say that you are somebody who really wants this? Would that fly what would that fly communicate to you based on your behavior? How would you measure your activity? And so I thought that was really interesting. It put things into perspective for me because I was like, oh yeah, there's definitely areas that I can improve on. And I think we all can. And then they talked a little bit about having a business like this and operating your own business does take sacrifice. And so while they don't want you to shortchange time with your family and the reason your why of doing this, you also need to get into the mindset that if you really want to grow and to go to the top and to hit all these ranks, you are going to have to sacrifice things. And they don't want it to be family time in that sense, but you might have to miss a soccer game, or you might have to skip out on a TV show, or kind of those little things where you could be putting time and effort into your business. And so keep that in mind. There are sacrifices. Hard work comes with that. Let's see real quick. And then again, a lot of what was talked about was the culture, set the tone. You set the tone. I hear leaders all the time come to me about, oh my gosh, my girls are so negative, or they're taking over my page. What do I do? How do I stop this? You set the tone for your team, for your business. You lead by example. Educate your teams on that. This is this is what's acceptable and this is what's not. Don't let the negativity fester. Fashion, LuLaRoe Fashion Fun, the fundamentals, they really want you guys to be using that. So start training your girls. When you sponsor people, direct them in the queue. They can still get on to the LuLaRoe Fashion Fundamentals. There's all kinds of stuff that they're getting ready to do with that. They updated a whole segment on that. So that was really cool. We can post the information for that, but just make sure that you're using that as your main source of training, because that's where all the resources are going to be. And then my favorite, of course, was Allison from the Allison Show. She stood up and she talked, and she's so much fun. She is she party plans. If you follow her on Instagram, then you know kind of what she's like. But I'm just going to read a couple. I took a couple pictures of slides from her. And she talked about when you're happy, you live longer, you have better health, you bounce back, you solve problems better and faster. And you're more likely to help others. If you don't prioritize your life, someone else will. And she says you were not created merely to be a guest at someone else's party. It's your party. Act accordingly. And I thought that was really cool. So I have a ton of slides and stuff. I'm going to make them look pretty and post them, and I'll give Catherine access to them. I took pictures of like her whole PowerPoint and everything, but I won't go through all of those. But you can tell the theme is definitely serving others, protecting the culture, leading by example. There's a lot. This is such a new company, you guys. It really is. It's still such a baby, and there is a lot coming. And so if you can just hold on to the bigger picture, hold on to your why, and keep moving forward and work your business every day. I laughed. Deanne got up there and she said, there's two kinds of people in our business. The girl who gets her box and says, all right, let's go, let's sell it. And the girl who gets her box and says, okay, do I have my hangers? Do I have, all of my little papers? Do I have my bags? And she was like, just be the girl that gets the box and sells it. Don't worry about everything else. And I think that's really important. All that little stuff doesn't matter. Just get your clothes and go out and sell it. Make people feel good. So yeah, there's so much information. I hope I summed it up well enough. I'm like, I don't even know how to organize this. But I'm happy to answer any questions for anybody.
That was awesome, Tatiana. Thank you so much. And I can't wait to see the slides from the Allison show. Y'all go and follow her on Instagram. It's Allison with one L, I believe. Right, Tatiana?
Let me see. Yeah, I have it.
Alison, the Allison show. And she just is so positive, so fun. I've heard her speak before. Is it one L?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so follow her. And it's just, I was really, really sad that I was not there. I had a prior commitment. And so I was not at leadership.
I know there was a lot of information, and I'm happy if anybody wants to talk privately or wants me to send notes or slides and stuff. I have so much. It was really hard to recap in 20 minutes. I'm happy to share.
That's me. We can grab a cup of coffee and I want to hear everything. Yeah. So are there any questions for her?
Somebody just asked if anyone was going to DC. I was debating on it. It was depending on how many girls were going to be there.
I was actually thinking about it too. When is it again?
It's Thursday. And I have a couple who've asked me to go. And so I was debating on whether it depends on how many people.
I'll have to look.
Hi, it's Melissa McCormick.
Hi.
Hello. Thank you for getting on here and doing this.
Of course.
I finally figured out how to unmute myself. So I was able to catch somebody posted on Fancy Pants, and actually I feel like maybe somebody when the mentors were talking that Q&A, and I found that very helpful. So just inspiring and lots of good nuggets. I just wanted to encourage anybody who didn't catch that to go on Fancy Pants, and somebody who was sitting right there recorded it. But I wondered if you could speak a little bit to this, and I just am thinking from that Q&A, I'm sure that they touched on it. So I'm sure that the leaders you get all the time from girls who are, just getting in, right? Who want to say that it's not going to be as quick for me, like say it was for you. I mean, I just said that to Catherine the other day. And yet that what you're saying of just so many things to come, they're still so young. But that realization, that people, though, that are coming in 3 years later really do need to grab onto that big picture mentality. You know what I mean? That it may be realistic that in your area, if you're not cracking open LuLaRoe and introducing it to everybody, you're not going to have 20 people on your team, necessarily in the first year. And that not only is that okay, but yet that bigger picture mentality, and I guess just sort of the reality of that, and just how to continue to just encourage people, to really work that business each day, even though they're not necessarily seeing specific fruit every single day. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have people, asking me to sign them up.
Right. Well, so I have two responses to that. The first one is that you have to, You have to remember, like, this business is a little over 3 years. And so if you think about the mentors, it took them 3 years to get to this point. In business, that's not a long time. But for the people who are signing up and feel like it should happen for them in 6 months, I mean, these girls worked a business that nobody knew about for 3 years. And they're just now kind of, not just now, I mean, but, you know, it took them a little while to get to where they are. It wasn't an overnight, instant, fast success like it feels like it was looking at them. We had to work hard for it. And my other thought to that question, honestly, is to train your brain. It's not about signing up other people under you. It's about going out and serving other people and blessing the lives. And through that, sharing your experiences. And the right people are going to flock to you. The right people are going to want to follow you if you're being the kind of leader that, you know, LuLaRoe is encouraging you to be. Honestly. So it's not about signing girls up under you.
Sure. Good. Thank you.
I hope that helps. Any other questions? Brandy, I see you're going to go to DC. I was going to ask you if you were going to be there.
Are you spending the night, Tat?
I wasn't planning on it.
What time? We'll talk later.
Yeah.
I guess it's Melissa. I'm going to pipe in again. I don't know who's on here. I'm just on the phone. I couldn't get onto my computer, so I can't see anybody. Anybody on here? Or anybody has taken the route of just really being bold and you know, handing out your business cards and interacting just with people kind of randomly? Anybody done that?
I do that.
I'll do that. I mean, I don't do it every day, but I carry leggings around in my car, in my purse, and a lot of times I'll just strike up conversation with people. I should be better about it, but I kind of let it happen organically. And if LuLaRoe or what I'm wearing comes into conversation, then I tell them what I'm doing and I give them my card and a pair of leggings. Or, you know, here's my card.
Yeah.
If I don't have leggings, here's my card. I'd love to give you a free pair. Send me an email or give me a phone call and I'll take care of you. But I'll strike conversations up with people. I know Lindsay Wheeler talked about when she was trying to get her business off the ground, it was her job to go out with 10 business cards in her pocket a day and hand out a card, all 10 of those. And she said she would just go up to people who were dressed cute and say, I really love your style. This is what I do. I think you would really love it. Here's my card, you know, blah, blah, blah. Also, you have to be somebody who's not afraid to approach people. It's uncomfortable at first, but I've encouraged a couple girls in my downline to do it and step outside their comfort zone. And one of my girls up in Massachusetts did it at her son's preschool. And she brought, I think, 3 or 4 pairs of leggings that day. And she just handed them out to a couple parents and teachers. And she had a really awesome response in return. And nobody knew what LuLaRoe was. I think she scheduled 2 parties and had a personal shopper come over. Just from doing that one thing and stepping outside her comfort zone.
I think that I did a couple shows this weekend, and I had multiple people at each show come in and say, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea LuLaRoe sold all these styles," and that they, you know, still just think of it as a leggings company. They did not know that we had dresses, all these dresses. They didn't know that we had the Sarah. I think it's really easy because we're so inundated with our Facebook feeds to feel like LuLaRoe is saturated. But I don't know. I feel like, okay, it could feel like a lot of people in your area are selling it, but a lot of people still are not wearing it.
Well, that's true. I think if you go out into the, you know, your community, if there's so many people still not wearing it, I feel like, to be honest with you, online is saturated, and that's why they're telling everybody to get back to the basics, get back to in person. When you're focusing on just online, you guys are all kind of fighting for the same customer base. If you really think about it, it's the same people kind of shopping around looking for their unicorns. And we're so much more than a legging company. So if you go back to the basics and you start building in-person relationships and doing in-person sales and, one-on-one shopping appointments and open houses and get really creative, styling events, show people that we're so much more than leggings, you're gonna build a really awesome in-person customer base, and you're not going to be fighting with people for online trolls.
And absolutely. And I mean, that is what I'm doing. I don't know. I'm just not, I think, meant to have a big online thing. It's just not my thing. It's never worked out great for me. I mean, I've only done like 4, but I am doing exactly what you're saying. And, and then you just have to remember, that definitely takes time, because it's not like online where you're getting it out to the masses. It really is sort of one shopper at a time sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, I have two ladies in their 60s coming over today at 2:00. How cute is that?
Well, yeah. And so you just think of it as, you're blessing the lives of those 2 women, and it kind of spreads. You're on the phone, so you can't see my hands. And then it spreads outward.
Oh, I know. I can't see you. I'm sorry.
Are there any other?
Yeah, I could talk forever over a glass of wine, so I'll stop talking. And thank you, Tatiana.
Yeah.
For everything.
Message me or call me privately and pick my brain. We'll chat.
Great. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you, Tatiana. I appreciate it. Tons of great information.
I know. It was so much. They did a really good job with content. And anybody who went to convention, let me tell y'all, we didn't wait in a single line, not to register, not to get, even if you went to leadership the first time, we didn't wait in a line to register, not to get our pictures taken, not even to go in. I think the very first, the unicorn party, and I didn't even talk about the parties. They did an amazing job with the parties. But even the unicorn party, I think the line just continuously moved. It was so much fun. We had a 90s party. You guys, you can get to these. It's so important to go. So important. Not only just the content, but just the relationships that you build with other consultants and ladies around the country. Now, gentlemen.
Tatiana, I just want to add, I just was wondering, just a fun question. Who plans, I'm thinking about you, Catherine, and the wedding that you planned this past weekend for your business for Gresham. Who plans those parties? Do they have a marketing group?
Yeah, their lead events is Sam Schultz.
Say it again?
They have an events team. So they have a whole team. But I believe, wow. Sam plans them.
What a fun job that would be.
Right?
Right? Planning party with unlimited amount of money. Gosh.
They did a really, really, really good job. They roll out the red carpet for us, that's for sure.
So fun.
Nice.
Well, thanks, girl. And I'll post this. Once I get it uploaded, I will post this to Fancy Pants. I appreciate all the information. It was awesome.
Yeah. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye.